Welcome to the Goodyear City Council meeting. We're excited to have you be a part of this important public process. Tonight, you will have the opportunity to address City Council on both non-agenda and agenda items. The agendas and the speaker request cards are located on the tables outside of council chambers. You must fill out a speaker card in order to address the City Council. Please hand in your completed card to the city clerk before the start of the meeting. If the meeting has already begun, please hand it to any city staff. You may also check the "I do not wish to speak" option on the card. This allows you to still voice your opinion on an item on the record without having to speak. In accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, please contact a city staff member if you need any assistance. Public comment on a non-agenda item will take place during the citizen comment portion of the evening. These are items that don't appear on tonight's formal agenda. The city clerk will call your name when it's time for you to speak. At that time, please approach the podium and tell us your name for the record. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes, and there is a timer visible from the podium. When the light changes from green to yellow, your time is coming to an end. When the light turns red, your time is up. Note that you may also choose not to speak if other speakers before you have said what you wanted to say. Shouting, cheering, and loud noises will not be tolerated, and violators may be removed for disrupting the meeting. Goodyear City Council meetings stream live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and online at goodyearaz.gov. Follow the city's social media pages so you don't miss out on all that's happening in Goodyear. Thank you for coming to this meeting and being an active part of your city. And remember, it's a great time to be in Goodyear.
I'd like to call the regular meeting in order for July 18th, 2022. City Clerk, please read the roll.
Let the record reflect that all members are present.
Thank you. Please join Councilmember Bray in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the many blessings you've given us. We pray that you open our minds and our hearts and our ears this evening as we have fruitful and bountiful discussion. Keep our residents in mind. We pray for our first responders that you keep them safe. Bless all of the city staff that work so hard for us. We pray for those that are on the front lines fighting for this country. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. We have one communication item tonight. First item is Goodyear Rec Center, 1-year overview. Please introduce yourself when you come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Mike Beadle. I'm the Recreation Superintendent, and I work out of the GRC. So tonight I am here to give you all a review of the first year of operations for the Goodyear Recreation Campus. I'm really excited to provide this presentation for you. It could have been an hour and a half, but we got narrowed down to about 10 minutes. So I'm going to try to fly through this, but we had some wonderful things happening at the GRC in our first year, and I'm just going to give you just a little taste of what happened in the first year. So before we get into some of the analytics, I just want to kind of rewind the tape and how we got here. So our first year in review was developed through some guiding philosophies. A lot of these came from Mayor and Council, some of them came from our director, Nathan Torres, and some of them came from the community. And so our vision for the facility was a facility like no other, and that's trademarked by Nathan Torres, for the community, by the community. And I believe Mayor Lord said it was the jewel of the city. But it's also the ultimate gathering places and really something for everyone, all ages and all abilities. And these were the guiding principles we used in the first year to help guide operations for the facility. So during the first year of operation, we had a ton of firsts. It was the first rec center for the city of Goodyear. We had a full year of family. We had a full year of friends. We had a year of fun, fitness, wellness, playing, and community building. All of those things happened for us in the first year. And there's a few pictures up there from the ribbon cutting, but really it comes down to all of the pictures that I'm going to show in the presentation is just the impact that we've had on the community and the community has had on the city. And so we're really excited to share that with you tonight. So when we say like no other, we really mean like no other in every aspect of the word. So our usage for the facility is on the screen before you. In the blue bars, you can see our daily average attendance. The yellow line is what we projected, which we projected above average attendance, and then the green line is our benchmark city. I'm here to tell you we were like no other. Rec centers don't average more than 2,000 guests a day. We did during the summer. Our overall usage, we had 420,000 people visit our facility in the first year. That is an unbelievable number. Most rec centers, most benchmarks were about 250,000. So we had families, we had kids, we had teens, all different people from Goodyear using the facility. And it really is an unbelievable experience for those in the first year. So who were those people? Who were the people in the first year? And I just want to give you a little bit of taste of the analytics. So during the first 6 months, we had our 75th anniversary pass promotion, which was approved by council, and we had 17,536 pass holders in the first 6 months. From there, once January hit, our normal fees went into effect, and since then we have had 28,000 day passes. We are at about 2,000 monthly passes, and you can kind of read the rest of them across the way, but we're at about 5,500 long-term pass holders in the GRC in the first 6 months of normal operations. So that's a really unprecedented number. Again, just as comparisons, most benchmarks are at about 1,500 to 2,500. We're at 5,500 in the first 6 months. So when I say the community really loves this facility, it's shown in these numbers. The community really loves this facility. Some of the demographic information, youth is making up 52% of the facility. The surprising thing for us is the amount of youth that is in our facility. Typically in rec centers, you see a lot of families, you see a lot of adult fitness users. In our facility, we saw droves of kids coming over from Desert Edge and Basis Elementary School and purchasing those day passes, purchasing those 75th passes, and using it as a hangout spot after school. And that's not something we predicted. Our female to male participation split is about normal, about 53% male, 47% female. That's a pretty normal split in terms of demographics. So diving in a little bit further to those pass holder demographics, our daily drop-in passes are dominated by youth. It's all the kids coming over after school. They buy a day pass. They hang out in the rec center. They don't have long-term passes, but 60% of those who purchase a day pass were youth. Once we get into our long-term passes, that's where we get a lot more adults and families. So the semi-annual passes, 64% are adults, and a lot of those are our fitness users, our second floor users, the walking track, things like that. And then a lot of our seniors are actually the annual pass holders. So the 17% in green and the 8% in blue are all of our senior population. So the 17% is our insurance-based passes. So that's our Silver Sneakers and our Renew Active passes to where they get it through their insurance, but they're still using the facility at a high rate. So a lot of our seniors are taking advantage of the annual pass and, of course, using our walking track. I would say that's a favorite of our seniors right now. So you know about all the amenities. You've seen it several times. All of you have been in the facility to see the wonderful amenities we have. But in the first year, we've noticed that they're not just coming for the amenities. We've had the opportunity with the new facilities to really expand into some amazing new programs. So we started a group fitness program. Obviously, we didn't have a group fitness space before, and now we do. So we ran over 2,000 group fitness classes in the first year. We added several special interest classes, including a walking club, pickleball class, and a dog obedience class, actually, in the first year. The one I'm most proud of is we added over 8,000 swim lessons at the new facility because we have double the amount of pool space. We were able to increase the number of swim lessons, which is an amazing life-saving feature for the building, and that's a new program that we were able to offer. We offered a lot more open swim hours, and really we just offered something for everyone. We have youth programs, we have teen programs, adults and seniors, so there really truly is something for everybody in the rec center. So I've told you a lot about the data, and data is my favorite part, but really we want to give you a little bit of a virtual tour and a little bit of fun in the first year. So this was actually put together by our own marketing guru, Hannah Duncan, and she gave us a really nice, cool video that was actually published on Facebook if you're a Facebook user. But I want to take a minute to watch this video. So that was just a good clip of just give you an idea and a taste of what everyone got to experience in the first year. Again, it's visually appealing. It's great. We launched it as an appreciation to all of the people who came and visited in the first year, and we got a great response on social media from all the people that were just telling stories about how appreciative they were of the GRC and how their life has changed because of the GRC. And I love metrics, I love data and analytics, but really what's the impact? What's the impact of what we did? There was money allocated from the budget for the GRC. There's all these numbers saying how great we did, but really what's the impact of what we did? And it's best displayed in pictures. What we did is the people. The people that we impact is the most important part of the GRC. It's a kid learning how to swim for the first time in the pool. It's a teenager having somewhere to go after school instead of having to go home and stay home alone. They get to come and hang out with their friends at the GRC. It's a family being able to hang out in the pool during the summer, or a senior who may be getting out and about after COVID for the first time and getting healthy and active and learning a new skill. Those are all the impacts that we have that really impact the community and create better community for the city of Goodyear. And we were just very excited to be a part of that. And I do want to finish up with, I do want to recognize all of our operations staff. So all of those people, all of the programs, all of the amenities that we offer couldn't be possible without our amazing operations team. So I would like to recognize them and have them come up for a second and wave. So first up, we have Steve Richardson. He's our operations coordinator. So Steve is running the day-to-day, the operations. He's handling all the teens that come into our facility. He's making sure everything runs day-to-day. We have Lane, who is kind of our Swiss Army knife. She does some marketing. She's now supervising some aquatics. Basically, she's plug and play wherever we need her. And then we have Hannah Duncan and Dawn Stipe. So Dawn Stipe is next, and she does our fitness, most of our fitness programming and SIC, and also creates all the teen programming for the facility. And then we have Hannah Duncan, who is our marketing guru. So she handles all the marketing, all the social media. If you make a comment on our Facebook post or Instagram post, Hannah's the one that's responding to you. So I just want to recognize these great folks. They've done a fantastic job in the first year. Thank you all very much for your support of the GRC, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Now is the time for citizens who would like to address the City Council on any non-agenda item within the jurisdiction of the Goodyear City Council. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Seeing none, will the city clerk please read the consent agenda, items 2 through 13, by title only?
Number 2, approval of minutes. Number 3, approve support of the American Diabetes Association's Tour to Cure Arizona 56 through the provision of public safety in-kind services. Number 4, approve 6-month extension for paid leave for employees testing positive for COVID-19 or for employees experiencing symptoms from receiving a COVID vaccination or booster. Number 5, approve the final plat for Cheddar Scratch Kitchen. Number 6, approve the final plat of Silva Trails at West Goodyear Phase 1, subject to stipulations. Number 7, approve expenditure up to $529,400 for the purchase and installation of a replacement odor control system at the Las Brisas lift station. Number 8, approve the termination and release of easement related to the construction of the Potato Barn facility. Number 9, adopt resolution number 2022-2258, declaring as public right-of-way, city-owned property located within a section of the Harrison Street alignment requiring recordation and providing for an effective date. Number 10, adopt resolution number 2022-2261, declaring a public record that certain document filed with the city clerk entitled Amendment to Goodyear City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 11, Offenses, Section 11-1-28, to establish new unruly gathering regulations. Adopt ordinance number 2022-1550, enacting an amendment to Chapter 11 of the City of Goodyear's Code of Ordinances to amend and replace Section 11-1-28 to establish new and expanded unruly gathering regulations, providing for correction, severability, and an effective date. Number 11, approve amendment number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement with the state of Arizona for the installation of intelligent transportation system equipment at the Traffic Management Center and Estrella Pebble Creek Parkway from MC 85 to Indian School Road, project number 42031. Number 12, approve amendment number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement with the state of Arizona for the installation of intelligent transportation system equipment along McDowell Road from SR 303 to 1/4 mile west of Dysart Road, project number 42033. Number 13, approve amendment number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement with the state of Arizona for the installation of intelligent transportation system equipment along Litchfield Road from MC 85 to Wigwam Boulevard, project number 42032.
Does anybody on council wish to remove an item? Seeing none, can I have a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 13?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Let's see, there's one public hearing on the agenda. Public hearing is for a use permit for the convenience use Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers Restaurant with drive-through. Open the public hearing. Please introduce yourself to the crowd.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Guadalupe Ortiz Cortez, Assistant Planner. The request before you tonight is for a use permit for a drive-through restaurant, Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Council approved a zoning ordinance text amendment on June 27th, which will become effective on July 28th. The text amendment requires use permits for drive-through restaurants within 500 feet of residential zoning districts and allows drive-through restaurants located over 500 feet from a residential district without a use permit. The proposed Freddy's is over 500 feet from a residential zoning district. However, because this project proposal was submitted and reviewed prior to the text amendment approval, the project requirements follow the previous zoning standards. The subject property is located at the northeast corner of Yuma Road and Cotton Lane, the future Loop 303, and within the Canyon Trails Town Center. The proposed property is zoned planned area development and has a C2 general commercial underlying zoning. The zoning for the Canyon Trails Town Center was approved in 2005. The subject property is approximately 0.86 acres. Customers will have access to the property from Cotton Lane, which is the future Loop 303, Canyon Trails Boulevard, and Yuma Road. The nearest residents are located over 800 feet west of the subject property at the Canyon Trails neighborhood. And this is the neighborhood. The subject property is highlighted by this yellow rectangle, and there's access highlighted here by this yellow arrows. As previously stated, the subject property is located within the Canyon Trails Town Center, that is east of the Chase Bank, south of the recently approved Chipotle and the proposed residential apartments, west of the shops buildings that includes Tropical Smoothie, T-Mobile, Domino's, and others, and north of Bank of America. On this slide is the conceptual site plan. The proposed building is approximately 300 square feet. The restaurant will provide outdoor seating. All offsite improvements, including parking, is completed. The developer will only be constructing the restaurant building. The drive-through will provide space for 6 cars to queue before the menu board and 6 spaces for cars to queue between the order point and the first window. The queuing provided meets the new queuing standards, actually. On this slide are the conceptual elevations for the building. The proposed elevations include colors and materials consistent with those approved for the Canyon Trails Town Center design guidelines. The proposed project meets the city's use permit and convenience use elevation criteria. Staff considers that the project will not be detrimental to the surrounding areas and is compatible with uses permitted in the surrounding area, given that the project is to be located at an existing commercial center, the infrastructure is existing, and there are similar uses in the center. The drive-through restaurant use is compatible with that of surrounding properties. Traffic and queuing have been internalized within the site. Queuing for the drive-through use meets zoning standards. The size of the parcel is adequate for the proposed use. The proposed hours of operations will be from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Since there are no residents nearby, staff does not recommend any restrictions on hours of operation. The city's citizen review and public hearing processes were followed. Notices were mailed to surrounding property owners. A sign was posted on the property, and a legal advertisement was published in the newspaper. Staff has not received any inquiries on the project or no opposition to date. All planning and engineering requirements are met. The Planning and Zoning Commission discussed the item and voted to recommend the approval at their meeting on July 6th. Staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval of the special use permit subject to the stipulations found in the staff report. Mayor, council members, I can answer any questions you may have, and the applicant is also in attendance and can answer any questions you may have.
Is the applicant here? Would you like to speak at this time? No? Okay, we'll hold you right there. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
All right, would anybody in the audience like to speak? With that, we'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the request for the use permit for the convenience use of Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers drive-through restaurant on an approximately 0.86 acre parcel within the Canyon Trails Town Center Zone PAD commercial, subject to stipulations?
So move.
Did you get it? Open for council discussion. Anybody want to start it off? Go ahead, Councilmember Kano.
Thank you, Mayor. I am always excited to see this development starting at this shopping center, and I have no doubt that Freddy's is going to do very well. Would you mind going to the slide with conceptual elevations? So I wanted to orient myself with this property, and I drove out there this weekend. And so when I look at the north elevation, that is actually facing away from that little road that brings you in. This is kind of a unique location that you enter into the Canyon Trails Center, and then you drive into this area that looks like a little main street. It's got front-facing stores and sidewalks and things like that. But when you look at the Freddy's, it's the front of it is away from the street, and the south elevation is what you would see from the street. And that's comparable to the banks there. The banks are flipped as well. I'm just looking at the south elevation. It's not the prettiest side of the building. And I know that that's not really the issue that we're here to discuss. It's more the drive-through, but I just wanted to comment. That's the front facing on the street as you drive in, and you drive in towards that area, that little shopping area that is walkable, and there's no signage on it. It's just, it's back of house. The back of house is at the front of the street. So that's my only comment I wanted to make.
Anything else? Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
So I'm familiar with the shopping center, but I have a clarification on the pull-in. So what slide that is? Slide 4. Can you remind me, is that the only entrance, or is there a northern entrance to this section here? The arrow, the yellow
Mayor,
arrow.
council
Sorry,
members.
maybe the next slide over down. Let me get to the.
Mayor, council members, Vice Mayor Hampton, is this the slide that you were referring to?
Yeah, well, I was looking at the next one down. I'm just curious how the flow, if I'm going to the bank, I'm using the same entrance, I'm hoping, I expect all restaurants in Goodyear to be extremely busy. So I'm just thinking, when I come in off of that road and then I head towards the bank, with the traffic coming in and out at that same road, I just want to make sure that, I hate when I get caught in a drive-through line that I didn't want to get caught in. I just can't back out of it because the drive-through's right behind me, or the parking spots are blocking. So I just want to make sure that the flow is going to be good there for the rest of the businesses there. And I'm curious how this is more of a pet peeve, because the Chase Bank, if you use the Chase, it's extremely tight to get out of if you go through their drive-through. So I have to make sure there's enough room also in this drive-through to accommodate the turning radiuses, because if you go through that Chase, it's really hard for a full-size truck to get through there. So this could be just a totally different project, but I just want to make sure that's addressed for all drive-throughs, really.
Yes. Mayor, council members, Vice Mayor Hampton, thank you for your concern. Staff has addressed that concern by including stipulations in the staff report that address no queuing past the queuing lane. So the drive-through the drive would be clear entering the property of Freddy's to Chase Bank. And that would include to not interfere with customers of Chase Bank entering and exiting the site.
Right. And I know this stuff we won't see this year pretty soon, because that's the new ordinance to go in, but just to make sure that we're thinking how busy these restaurants are going to be, and that it's good for all the users around there. So I want them to all be wildly successful. So thank you.
Go ahead, Wally.
I just want to thank Freddy's for going and opening a second location, because we're using the one now in Palm Valley all the time. But we really thank you, because those folks in the west part of Goodyear, they really are looking forward to having their restaurants closer to them. So thank you very much.
Anything else? With that, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. I'm going to move to business. I'd like to remind council to wait for a motion and a second before discussion. First item on business is the agreement with Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Lori Gary. I'm the Economic Development Director for the city, and I have the pleasure this evening to bring before you a new contract with the Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce. As you all remember, last year in April, the city manager actually came before you to talk about your desire on renewing the contract with the chamber. At that time, as you all recall, there was a transition happening at the chamber. We had a new CEO coming in. Avondale at that time had exited the chamber. They've now been reinstated as a platinum member. And staff recommended to renew the contract for a one-year period during the transition in order for the new CEO to take hold and to work on bringing the chamber back to a high-level standard. At that time, you also said, please bring this back for us to reconsider, and that is what we're here today to do. The Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce supports businesses in 4 cities: Goodyear, Avondale, Litchfield Park, and Tullison. It serves as a strong collaborative venture for the business community, and it advances the economic growth, and particularly for our existing businesses. The new CEO at that time was Jeff Campos. He is here with us this evening. They have developed a variety of new things to bring forward to make the chamber even stronger than it was. New marketing packages, membership levels, they've added staff as well. Currently, they have 524 members. That is up from their last fiscal year, which was 455 members. Out of the 524 members they had during their last fiscal year, 169 of those were Goodyear businesses. So to date, approximately 32% of the chamber members are now in the city of Goodyear. The current contract that we're operating under provides a lot of information and support as the Business and Resource Center. As you all recall, they promote the city of Goodyear as well as the surrounding 3 other cities as a place to be visiting. And when residents or businesses or people who want to visit come in, they answer the phone, they provide information. They also provide a lot of direct support to local businesses, and they promote the city of Goodyear on their chamber website. That is a $16,000 annual membership fee to provide that particular support. In addition to that, we pay a $725 annual chamber investment, and of course, we purchase two annual tables at the Swaggy Awards, and so the current contract is a little bit over $18,000. What we are proposing for you this evening is a brand new customized platinum membership package for the city of Goodyear. It is for marketing services for businesses, tourism, and also to help support and market the Innovation Hub. We'll also be sponsors for certain chamber events. We've asked them to please provide support upon our request for groundbreaking and ribbon cutting services for our businesses, and to customize certain events for Goodyear, and one of those is entrepreneurial events. As you know, that is in support of our Innovation Hub. We've also asked for increased reporting to the city, and that has to do with their financial health as well as their membership. We are asking for an increase for this particular contract with all the new services they're going to be providing us for up to $25,000. This is a one-year contract, and this evening our recommendation is to approve the platinum membership with the Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce with an amended scope corresponding to the cost increase. I am open for any questions or comments you all may have. Thank you.
Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak? Seeing none, can I have a motion and a second to approve a one-year renewal of membership agreement in the Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce with an amendment to the scope and a corresponding cost increase?
So moved.
Second.
Did you get it? Right here. Good. Open for council discussion. Go ahead, Councilmember Campbell.
Well, I just want to let you know how excited we are that we have Jeffrey Campos in the audience, who is our new CEO and is a very dynamic leader for us and has really turned the chamber around. We're very happy with the new programs he's proposing, and we have increased our board of directors. We've increased our membership. We have a dynamic group now that's very active in the chamber, and the Goodyear businesses who do belong to our chamber like it, and they appreciate all of the extra help that they get from our chamber. So I am just really happy to see us do this, and I just want to thank Jeffrey for all he's doing for Goodyear and all the other cities, of course.
Anybody else? With that, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations there.
Thank you.
Next item of business is a multi-party agreement between Arizona Public Service Company, Goodyear, and Buckeye to accept the municipal brackish water brine into the Palo Verde Nuclear Generating Station, PVGS Water Reclamation Supply System. I hope I all got all in one mouthful there. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. Good evening. Barbara Chappell. I'm here to present. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to request approval of this multi-party agreement to accept what is referred to as brackish water. We call it brine. That probably sounds more familiar to you. It's a byproduct of our groundwater treatment that's generated at a couple of our sites. And we're also asking approval of the associated expenditure. Our current practice, we discharge this brine into our sewer system, and it's conveyed to the water reclamation facility located at 157th Avenue. That practice is not sustainable, and it causes several issues. First of all, it does not meet our pretreatment ordinance. Second of all, it takes up capacity that could be used to support growth. And finally, it passes through the water reclamation facility and may cause issues with our compliance on our discharge permits. We see elevated metals in those discharges. So back in 2019, we started exploring options for disposal of this brine and hired a consultant to look at a couple of options, one was to treat at the site where it's generated, and one was more centralized treatment with some economy of scale. That was the most desirable, but it was very expensive. Had a price tag over $100 million. Our consultant happened to also be doing some work at Palo Verde and suggested we contact our colleagues there and see if we could develop a more regional solution through partnership. So we did just that, and we began discussing with Palo Verde, and we developed a memorandum of understanding. You may recall, I think it was about 2 years ago, we got that approved to do some preliminary work and see, just to establish the impacts of that poor quality water on their cooling system. That study proved that we could mitigate some of those issues by installing what's referred to as enhanced evaporation units. So this agreement before you this evening has some main key points. One is to purchase and test out 2 different manufacturers on the enhanced units, and so Palo Verde could select the one that best suits their needs. We'll also advance design for improvements like electrical and piping that would be needed for the full-scale project, and develop a better cost model through a contractor. So the plans would be developed to a level we could hire a contractor to develop a better cost model. We currently have a capital budget of $20 million for capital improvements. They were based on a higher level study. Under a separate project, the city will be installing the pipes to take the flows, the brine, from the 2 facilities to the pipeline that takes water to the nuclear power plant. That project has a budget of $10 million, and it'll be coming later this year. We're hiring design engineers now. Once our pilot and the design is complete, a future agreement is needed to establish the capital costs moving forward, the O&M costs for operating those new facilities, and that would allow the city to discharge 1.7 million gallons a day of brine that's generated at our peak flow in the summer from those facilities. Palo Verde is a great partner. Should they choose, for no scientific reason, to not move forward with the agreement, we do have a clause to get reimbursed for this investment that we're making today. I do have Brad Burles from Palo Verde here this evening, and I'm here as well to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak at this time? Can I get a motion and a second to approve the agreement regarding collaborative efforts to accept the municipal brackish water in the water reclamation supply system by and between Arizona Public Service Company, the City of Goodyear, the City of Buckeye, and authorize expenditure of funds up to $1 million? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
You got it? Open for council discussion.
I guess so.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great solution. I appreciate your collaboration with the power plant. And also, I mean, it seems like a very good alternative to what we could have been having to face here, at least in the notes here. So, and I said a just curiosity question. Are we reestablishing a line that we used to have in the past, or is it a totally different line?
Yeah, we do have a current connection, so that is going to be utilized for one of the pipelines. The pipeline is not in place, but the connection is.
Okay, and this is a one-time cost for now, just us connecting to it. There's not an ongoing, I see.
So our next agreement will include the ongoing. We have some estimates, some rough estimates that are showing about $3 million a year for ongoing O&M. Doing it ourselves, the larger capital project, our estimates were $8 million a year
Yeah.
for O&M.
Yeah, so I think it's a good use and a good collaboration to win-win for both parties. So I appreciate you're looking to work with other groups as well. So I think it's a good solution, and it'll definitely help, I think, both parties. So thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, I appreciate it's going to free up some capacity at the plant as a result, so that's always good. With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it. Next business item is the City of Goodyear Transportation Master Plan, TMP update fiscal year 23. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the group out there. You're up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. How are you? Chris Bridges, Transportation Planning Manager for the City of Goodyear. And I'll be straight to the point because I've had a chance to talk with most of you already. But this agenda items for requesting authorization to expend funds up to the budgeted amount of $530,000 for the Transportation Master Plan, which is a 20-year looking into the future guide for investments in transportation all within the city. So I'll keep it short to there and be available for any questions. We are in the process of finishing up the procurement with our top-ranked firm, which was HDR, and anticipate council approval of this would allow us to move forward and get a contract in place and hopefully have them underway in August.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak on this issue? Seeing none, can I have a motion to second authorize the expenditure of funds for the TMP in an amount of not to exceed $530,000? Can I get that motion?
So moved.
Second? You got it? You got it? Okay. Open for council discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it. Next item is the amending to the municipal user fee schedule. Come on up. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Doug Sandstrom, I'm the Finance Director. Tonight, we're here to talk about some modifications to our consolidated fee schedule. In July 2021, Council adopted a fee schedule that consolidated most general city fees. There are other resolutions that are associated with development impact fee, water fees, and so on, but the majority of our fees are in this one consolidated fee schedule. Tonight's action makes a handful of changes specifically to our building safety fees. Three main reasons for those are to clarify language on how fees are charged. Last year, we've been working with developers, people coming in for permits, and it's just clarifying some of those. Modifying the lowest level of the fees on our table 1A for permits. What we are trying to do is what we're proposing is a flat fee of $100 for all projects valued up to $10,000. So that's the normal projects that people do at their homes, with the idea of making it simple, easy to understand, affordable, and encouraging people to come in and actually get the permits so that we can get the life safety pieces in place for those permits. And then the final step is to correct all the other, or modify all the other tiers on that table to account for the fact that tier 1 is now $100. And in so doing, we would correct the top tier, which is for projects that are valued at $1 million or greater. With the adoption of the original fee schedule, the fee was miscalculated in there so that $1 million project actually paid less than a $999,000 project. So it's correcting that. It is a relatively small amount difference, starting fee going from $7,000 to $8,000. So a relatively small thing in correcting that. All of the actions tonight, with the exception of that final one, will actually lead to a reduction in the amount of fees charged or no change to the fees charged. What we are proposing is adoption of the entire fee schedule. That way, for administrative purposes, all of our fees are still under one blanket resolution. The fees, if adopted, would go into effect on September 1st, 2022. And with that, I'll open it for any questions.
Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Seeing none, will the clerk please read resolution number 2022-2260 by title only?
Adopt resolution number 2022-2260, approving and adopting a document entitled the Goodyear Municipal User Fee Schedule, replacing and superseding the municipal user fee schedule adopted by resolution number 2021-2167 as amended, providing for an effective date.
Can I have a motion a second to adopt the resolution 2022-2260?
So moved.
Second.
And give it to Ray. Open for council discussion. Go ahead, Councilmember Kano.
I had a conversation with staff about this because I thought, well, if we just passed the fees last year, why are we doing it this year? But I did learn that we are streamlining, simplifying, and reducing costs. All the good things that good government does. So thank you.
Anything else? With that being said, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Final business item is to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Arizona establishing maintenance responsibility for landscaping and roadways near Interstate 10 and State Route 303 and associated budget amendment. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm Hugh Biak. I'm the city traffic engineer. And tonight I'll be presenting the ADOT IGA for landscaping and roadway maintenance near I-10 and State Route 303. Let's give a quick background what we'll discuss. To go over what I'm going to discuss. First, a brief background. Next, the intergovernmental agreement itself. And then closing with a recommendation. So first, the background on the IGA process with ADOT. So we have, I believe it's 11 total IGAs throughout the city. Or actually, it's less than that. I apologize. It's around 10 or so IGAs created. Basically, every interchange that's constructed through Goodyear has an IGA attached to it. For instance, what I put up there on the slide, Litchfield Road. What these IGAs do is define who pays for the construction, and it can be amongst many agencies, and also it discusses the maintenance. In other words, who takes care of, to put an example up there on the side, both artwork and traffic signals, whether or not the state pays for it, whether or not the city pays for it. That's the basis for these IGAs before the project is even constructed. And now what we're here to discuss is this new IGA before you this evening, which this IGA will do is consolidate all of those IGAs into one document. It will apply to 10 interchanges that are along I-10 and 303 within the city of Goodyear. And it will set forth that the city will assume maintenance responsibility for landscaping, sidewalk, and signing along the arterial streets along these interchanges in Goodyear. Just to clarify, this does not include the main line or the off-ramps. This is merely along the arterial streets themselves. This new version of an IGA is not uncommon. Other cities within the MAG region have also entered into these revised agreements with ADOT from their originals. And also just to clarify too, that ADOT requires these agreements with cities before any construction of these interchanges occurs. So just past history, the interchange at I-10 and 303, for example, had an IGA attached to it. One for construction and maintenance, and then also had an additional one for the landscaping project, which came 1 or 2 years later after construction. Continuing, why are we doing this? The main reason why is for the improved level of service. Some of it has been evident throughout the city in these areas where it is maintained by ADOT due to budget cuts and such in ADOT or the reduced budget. Are the reasons we're given as to why the level of service of maintenance, for instance, of landscaping, is not quite what it may have been. Allegedly, it's per ADOT, they only have one crew that serves these areas, and they are on a schedule. So in other words, if an area is overgrown, it's merely on a calendar schedule. It's not by how it looks. It's on a fixed schedule. And the anticipated maintenance costs of taking on these areas for the landscaping, it's approximately $113,900 annually. And for sidewalks, we estimate that amount to be in the neighborhood of $44,700 a year. And the recommendation is to approve the intergovernmental agreement with ADOT establishing maintenance responsibilities for landscaping and roadways near Interstate 10 and State Route 303. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak on this issue? Seeing none, can I have a motion to second approve an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Arizona establishing maintenance responsibilities for landscaping and roadways near Interstate 10 and State Route 303 and associated budget amendments? Open for, that first get a motion? Second. Open for council discussion? Anything over here? No. Councilmember Kano?
I have a question about graffiti. I find it in the strangest places and call it in left turn medians, up on overpasses. Whose responsibility is to abate the graffiti?
It depends, Councilmember Kano, it depends where it is located. If it was on the structure, say it was up on an overpass, say on a concrete bridge railing or a barrier, that would be the responsibility of ADOT. Now, with this agreement, that would not change from where we are today to after the approval of this agreement. That would not change. In other areas, and when it comes to signing down along the arterial roadway, that would change because what's part of this agreement is the city would take over maintenance of the signing that's on the ground, not up on bridges or structures. But the city would have to take over the maintenance of that. So if it's a graffiti on a sign, now the city would be responsible for mitigating that graffiti. So that's one change. So it just comes down to depends where it is.
Okay. What is their responsiveness to addressing graffiti?
ADOT's.
Well, you got Christopher coming up.
Phone a friend.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Mayor, Council, just to piggyback on what Hugh said a little bit. If it's on code compliance deals with graffiti in most cases, except when PD gets involved. We do coordinate with ADOT. However, there are occasions, as you pointed out, Councilmember Kano, where there is graffiti on bridges and overpasses that are not our responsibility technically. However, code does proactively deal with our contractor to get those taken care of. We as a city just take care of that because it's not that ADOT isn't responsive. It's just another layer to go through, and it doesn't really cost a whole lot for the graffiti removal. So we just as soon take care of it to have our city looking the best it can be.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, with that, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Council have any comments, commendations, or reports, current events, future? Good. City manager have anything to report?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I am very excited to announce that we are officially moved in to the new City Hall. City staff and the movers worked tirelessly over the weekend, as in IT was still there at 11 o'clock last night. So they worked tirelessly over the weekend to relocate us to the new City Hall, and the public can now visit our one-stop shop to pay water bills, pull permits, or other business with the city. We would like to welcome the public to City Hall and the Goodyear Library ribbon cutting event that will be held on Monday, August 1st. Festivities will begin at 7 a.m. with yoga on the lawn. There will be food trucks and giveaways. The ribbon cutting begins at 8 a.m. and building tours will follow. And I just want to offer a special thanks to Mayor and Council, our staff, Globe Corporation, and all of our partners that played a part and worked so hard to make this vision possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on tonight's agenda, we have an item for an executive session. Vote may be held to call an executive session for the following pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A3, consultation with the city attorney for legal advice relating to Arizona zoning and land use laws. I would like a motion, a second, to go into executive session.
So moved.
Right there. Second. Let's see. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll now convene an executive session. Are we going to go back here? Okay. Back. agenda. Meeting's closed, except we got one thing right here I want to show. This is our last meeting here at the city, at this location. This is going to be hung. There you go, get a shot of that.
That's cute.
In our work area at City Hall, new City Hall.
Who knows?
Just for us. That's it?
You want to adjourn the
Good. Meeting adjourned.